Well, good morning, everybody. Harry Schrader with you. It's a special edition of Voices of the Valley, part of the Valley Hoops Insider website podcast, where we try to cover the Missouri Valley Conference and the Ohio Valley Conference. It's a special day, special week, really. Thanksgiving week has become MTE week all over college basketball. We might talk about that players era thing a little bit. Paul Oren might rag on that a little bit for us. I hope he does. But Paul Oren will be joining us from the Victory Bell. They cover everything Valparaiso related. JW Cox, the play-by-play voice of the UNI Panthers, he'll be joining us as well. Both these teams off to their best starts in like 4 or 5 years, and so we wanted to have these guys on and talk about their games today, but their games so far. And there are 7 Missouri Valley Conference games today, and it will, in a large way, shape a lot of what goes forward in the league. And we'll talk about all of those kinds of things this morning live here on YouTube as we try to, just bring stuff to you folks that love the Missouri Valley Conference and the OVC. And bringing in first our friend Paul Oren of the Victory Bell. Paul, your Beacons are off to a great start, and obviously 4-1 and a terrific start. But thanks for joining us today.
Hey, thank you so much, and a happy early Thanksgiving to everyone who is paying attention today.
Everybody that's watching, we love you and appreciate you. Hey, Paul, could you see 4-1 happening before the season started? And I want to ask you about some specifics related to the team and things that have gone on. But preseason, were you thinking, oh yeah, we'll be 4-1?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's so early with this roster and trying to figure out where the pieces are going to fall together. And there have been a couple of really big surprises within who's contributing and who's not at the moment and all of that. So that's been kind of fascinating. Harry, I don't know that I sat down with an Excel spreadsheet and said potential wins in one column, potential losses in another. If you're asking me, I think 4-1, excuse me, probably made a lot of sense. The Kentucky game was going to be really, really difficult. Did I think it was going to be the largest loss in Division I history for Valpo? I did not. But that's also Valpo's never played a team with a $22 million payroll before. So, and every one of these games they've won so far is a game that you think they should win. Now, the manner in which they went into Cleveland State and dominated that game from beginning to end, that means a little bit more to me than the 4-1 or 5-0 or 3-2 or anything like that. Today, they're playing Southern Indiana. Valpo's favored by nearly 10 points. Old Valpo friend Ola Ajaboye is playing for Southern Indiana after playing for Western Illinois last year. This is a game that if Valpo is going to be who they want to be or what it wants to be, this is a game that Valpo ought to come out, step on their throat early, and pull away. If they're in a tight game down the stretch and they still win, 5-1 looks good, but it's like this should be 5-1 with a bullet right now. If they win this game today the way they should.
I should have said this earlier. It's right there on the screen, thevictorybell.com. Tell people more about your site and your coverage of Valpo athletics.
Yeah, I've been covering Valpo for 2 decades, but have my own subscription-based site. Victorybell.com gets you all the access that you need. $5.99 a month, $59.99 for the entire year. Harry, it's hard to do this for free in this economy. So, I'll say this. Yes, I'm asking people to pay for journalism, but yes, I think it's worth it.
True confession, I'm a subscriber. So folks, join the Victory Bell. You'll love the content you get. Particularly
True confession, tomorrow at my Thanksgiving table, I'm going to read off the list to my family of every paid subscriber that I'm thankful for, and you're somewhere in the H's and the S's because I'm going to hit you twice.
Oh, terrific! Well, listen, I'm glad that I'm in there somewhere because I'm a consumer and I love what you do. I want to bring up this. I've gotten really fancy. Look at this. Watch this. Okay.
There he is.
There's Joaquin. So first of all, Cheney is off to a great start. He's the reigning, Missouri Valley Conference Player of the Week 2 weeks in a row. True confession, when I asked you preseason, I wrote a story about all the, I think, really talented freshmen coming into the Missouri Valley Conference. And, what do I know? I read press releases and I look at scouting sites. and obviously Cheney was way up there. And I texted you and I said, hey, which one of the rookies at Valpo should I be bragging about? And you told me JT Pettigrew. So here we are, and Cheney's dominating the league. Tell us a little bit about him.
Yeah, and actually, I feel bad because life gets in the way sometimes. I have a story in my drafts at the Victory Bell, which is either going to come out later on today if I can finish it, or tomorrow after today's game, called "Who is Rakim Cheney?" And I spent a half hour with him last week and just picked his brain. And it was one of those things where I thought, okay, I'll ask him 5 questions and I'll just, fire off a story. And I came away from it thinking, like, this kid is something else, And so I do want to preface, by the way, JT Pettigrew, before we go any further here, because this is not to take anything away from Rock. JT Pettigrew is a star. He is a stud, right? He is very, very, very good. He has been battling a food virus, something with his, that's causing his weight to fluctuate a little bit right now. And they're trying to get it under control. And it is, he lost 10 pounds right after the Kentucky game. He's been battling that a little bit. And I don't know everything about it. All I do know is that it is something that is, they're working with it. They feel like they're in a good spot with it. And so that's why he was out of the starting lineup for a little bit. The kid played a game. He couldn't keep anything down for the entire day, and he still went out there and gave him 20 minutes. Early in the year, when they needed a game-winning bucket, they went to JT Pettigrew. And so, they think very highly of him. So let's not close the door on him yet, but let's open a window for Rakim Cheney, right? And so what a great kid. Here's a guy, even in March when he committed, and I remember I was in Milwaukee visiting my family, and I was sitting in a hotel room because I got a hotel there, and it was like he'd committed earlier in the day, and I was like, can I get a hold of him or not? And he messaged me 10 o'clock at night, and he goes, hey, I'm really sorry. I meant to get back to you earlier. Do you have time now? Okay, so we talk. And his number one thing was I can't wait to meet my teammates so I can learn how they want to play, and then I'll adapt my style around them. And he said, I want to learn how every shooter on my team wants the ball passed to them so I can figure out how to do that and figure it out quickly so all the guys around me can thrive. And that's just been him, and he's been a phenomenal player. He wasn't the point guard on the roster that I thought was going to be the one we were talking about a couple weeks in. There is a guy on the roster who I do think has a lot of good basketball ahead of him. It's just been a bit of a slow start to the year. And if he starts cooking, I do think this is not the Valley Valpo that you've seen in years past, outside of the fact they do good things in the conference tournament. I do think this team has the ability to do well in the regular season.
Looking forward to seeing more of that, Rakim. Say it again. I always want to call him Rakim, right?
I call him Rock. I think it's Rakim Cheney. It could be Rakim. I'll get clarification on that, Harry.
Thanks.
I just call him Rock,
There we go.
And yeah.
Journalism at your finest. Here we are. I want to bring JW Cox in. He is with us now. JW, the voice of the UNI Panthers, and they are 6-0. And both these teams are off to their best starts since the 2019-2020 season. And JW, thanks for joining us today. You are in Palm Springs. How's the weather?
It's beautiful. Couldn't be better. We got a couple Chamber of Commerce days out here since we've been here on Sunday, so it's been great.
So you go to the left coast and a very important game. You take care of UC Irvine and then you get Loyola yesterday. I guess it was yesterday, 2 days ago, and you take care of the Ramblers 6-0 and the best start in a long time for UNI. What are some of the keys for the Panthers? Obviously, they played great defense.
Yeah, that's been the biggest one, Harry. It's the only team that's gotten 70 points or gotten 60 points on them was in that Irvine game and went to overtime, and they got to 60 just at the end of regulation. So this team is playing defense at a different level than I have seen in my time here going into year number 4, but a lot of Valley fans are used to that from some Coach Jacobson teams in years past. But yeah, they're playing at an elite level. They're really connected on that end of the floor, and I think some of the experience of playing together is helping that, and just some of the experience of being in the system. It's interesting to watch as I've gotten to be on this trip with them, just kind of how the coaches are talking about things on defense. There's no real broad concepts that they're going over right now. Now they're starting to talk about the minutia of things, like your foot placement here is a little bit off, or you're a little bit turned this way or that way. It's a lot of the finer points of it, which I think to me speaks to just how well they have grasped everything they want to do, and now it's about taking it to an elite level. The other thing, and it goes back to playing together and knowing each other, is how they're sharing the basketball. They've already got 3 games in the 6 where they've had 20-plus assists. Yesterday against Loyola, it was 21 assists and just 3 turnovers. You're going to have a lot of success and be really efficient on offense if you do that. I think 25 made field goals, 21 assists. So it's a fun team to watch on that end of the floor, and they're super connected. And on this trip, they're starting to get some of those role players, specifically a guy like Kyle Polk, to hit some shots. He's got 8 made threes over the last 2 games. And when he's doing that, this team's going to be at a whole other level offensively with the known commodities that you've got, and guys like Trey Campbell and Leon Bond and Ben Schweiger on that offensive side.
JW, how long for you now as the play-by-play voice of the Panthers?
This is my 4th year.
Spectacular. Listen, the other night, Trey gets the winning bucket, and I heard the call on somebody put it up. Maybe you did. Somebody put it on Twitter, and I heard your call.
That was not me. That one actually wasn't me, because I had to do the last football game. So
that's right.
Malkin. So I joined midway through the trip. I got here.
I knew
on Sunday.
I knew the call wasn't that good. It could have been better. It could have been better, right?
But I want to go to, like, last night. I'm just trolling around at the end of the night, and I realized that Murray State's at the end of a tight game with George Washington last night. So I go to their website and I pull up their broadcast and I listen to Jeff Bidwell give the end of that game, the overtime, the winning bucket. I'm a play-by-play guy at heart. Have done millions of games like that. There's nothing kind of more exciting than kind of the drama at the end of a game. And Paul, you have your toe in that water a little bit as well with the Valpo games. Nothing quite as exciting as that drama and that call.
Yeah, I mean, those are what you want to do. I mean, it's funny. So I've missed 2 games, basically 2 Panther basketball games of note. And one was obviously the other night where they get that game winner. The other one that I happened to miss last year was when Titan Anderson goes coast to coast against Illinois State and beats them at the Horn. So the 2 that I've missed have been the one with buzzer beating shots in remarkably similar fashion, actually. Obviously, Trey had to get the 3-point play the other night, but yeah, I mean, those are exciting. I also loved yesterday, though. It was a totally different feeling. I'm sitting there doing the game with Kevin Boyle, the all-time Hawkeye great there, and he's my great color guy. And we're up there, and the Panthers get up 9-1, and then they stretch it out, and they're up by 19 at the half, and they stretch it out to 27 in the second half. And we just look at each other and we're like, man, this is something special. You want to enjoy this too when a team goes out there and against an A10 team and gets that done like that. So there's a lot of fun to be had with this team. But you're absolutely right. That's what I told some people when you missed another one. I said, well, I'm sure they'll get me one of these times. They're going to get me one that we come down to the wire against somebody in a battle and we'll get it and I'll be ready.
Yeah, 2 Missouri Valley teams beat A10 teams last night. That was fun. To both of you, first you, Paul, the best surprise so far in this start for the Beacons, a player, a mindset, and then to you, JW, after that, the best surprise for your team so far.
Well, again, it's by the way, it's Rakim. I got clarification. It's Rakim. And I guess I got to say that it's Cheney. But I'm gonna zag a little bit. Sean Tupuola is the transfer from St. Mary of the Woods, and he's shooting 64% from the floor. But I think the thing that I really like is he's shooting 70% from the free throw line. He's a big guy, center. He's averaging 10.8 points a game and 6.8 rebounds. He's got 8 blocks, so he's averaging just over a block a game. And he can get to the line and he can score. He is the only scholarship player on the team that is not yet taken a 3-pointer, and it's killing him. He wants to take one. So, and he told me he would take some. So my biggest surprise so far is that Big Sean has not yet knocked down a 3-pointer. It's coming, and when it does, it's the play-by-play call, that's going to be amazing.
And then JW, I want to ask you the same question: biggest, best surprise, but tag teaming off of the end of what he just said about the NAIA transfer. There, you guys have your own NAIA All-American that's joined the team in Smith. So biggest, best surprise, and we just see this every year now. NAIA guys, Division II guys showing up and really being able to play.
Yeah, and I was going to go right there to Tristan Smith. I mean, it's weird to call him a surprise after everything he did, right? But you just never know. I mean, everybody talks about, yeah, your skills are going to transfer, but there is a jump. There's a jump in how much good competition is coming at you every minute, right? I mean, there's good players at the NAIA level, but they're not going to have the depth of a team in the Missouri Valley or a team that you're playing in the A10. And the way Tristan has handled that has just been incredible. And I think the biggest surprise is, you see videos of him and you hear tell of how strong he is and how bouncy and athletic he is. But then to actually watch him, it's pretty incredible. And that was a spot where the Panthers were going to need some strength in that on that front line and some physical play and some athleticism after what they lost from a season ago. And so he's filled that role really well. 5 of the 6 games he's been in double figures. He plays good defense on those assignments that he gets on that front line. He's a little undersized from a height standpoint, but he doesn't let it stop him. His shot blocking ability with the timing and the leaping ability he has has just been incredible. And so everybody is really high on him, and you could look at the numbers and you can look at the success that he had at Concordia, Nebraska, but to see it on the floor day in and day out, I mean, really from the jump, he obviously put in the time in the summer and in the weight room and with the team to get up to speed on where they need to be. But for me, just the smoothness, how smooth and how quickly his transition to this level has been, that's been a great, pleasant surprise so far to start the season.
And to both of you, your coaches couldn't be more different in terms of their personality. But JW and Paul, both your coaches, they're relentless guys. Like I think both of Jake and of Roger Powell Jr., relentless guys. And talk about that a little bit, JW.
Yeah, I think this team draws a lot from that kind of personality of Coach Jake. I like to go back to when he was a player too, and he helped turn around a North Dakota program with Coach Rich Glass there when they got there. When he was the year before he got there, they didn't win much up there in Grand Forks, and then they ended up winning a lot over his 4-year career. And I think he had a lot to do with that same kind of mentality that you're talking about, and he's brought that to his coaching career. He knows what it takes. One of his favorite sayings that he says all the time is, "It takes what it takes." Well, you got to know what it takes to be able to say that, and he does. He knows what it takes to win at this level, to compete day in and day out, and how to prepare his team. That's the most fun I get being on these trips with the team. I mean, we get to go to fun places and stay at nice hotels and all of that, and that's great. But I just love to see the preparation that goes in with him and his whole staff, right? I mean, he's got some continuity there with PJ Hogan, who's been with him every step of the way here at Northern Iowa, and Seth Tuttle, who was a player, and Gamaliel Helaba, whose brother played here, and they know. And then they bring in Mark Sonnen, who's another former player, who's on the staff now. And just watching those guys work together, led by Coach Jake, and that mentality that he's got, it's just fun to see. And it's no surprise that when the team goes into a game and they're super prepared and ready to go out and execute, and then you just let the chips fall where they may.
Same question, Paul. Like Roger and Jake aren't anything alike personality-wise in terms of when I interact with them, but he's just relentless. Like there's no quit in him.
No, there's not. And when Roger was an assistant coach at Valpo, the final game that he coached was in the NIT against St. Mary's. And when the game, there were thousands of people in the Arc. And when the game ended, they did a group prayer around. Roger was in the center leading everybody in prayer. And it's this amazing photograph that is out there. And you talk about relentless. Roger is relentless to want to get back to that point, Mm-hmm. And it was 9 years ago. It's a long, long time, but that is something that he really, really wants to get back to. And big news in Valpo, by the way. Big news the other day.
I wanted you to talk about this. Thank you.
$1 million rolling in the coffers here for the Basketball Excellence Fund. A great family, the Schrage family, who donated this money. They've had a long relationship with the university, and as all of these schools in the Valley are trying to figure out how to compete with the higher ups, support and finance is a big part of it. So the relentlessness that Roger brings is going to have a little bit of an exclamation point behind it here in the next recruiting cycle anyway. So, and I know you hinted earlier about the players era. At any point, if you want me to go off on that, I can. If you notice here, like I'm in cold Valpo right now. I'm not in
Right.
warm Vegas or warm Palm Springs. So
we may get there. When I think about both your teams, good depth seemingly on both teams. I think Valpo's got 10 players that are averaging 13 minutes or more, and I think UNI has 8 or 9 that are 11 minutes or more, and you've got a lot of guys contributing and scoring. So depth really good. But when I look at both these rosters, I don't see a lot of, upper level size. So speak to that. Or do you have concerns about size for either of your teams? Paul, you're shaking your head no, so you get to go first.
No, this is the tallest Division I team that Valpo's ever had. Now do they have a couple 6-footers, right? I mean, Big Sean, 6'10". When I'm talking 6-footers, I mean 6'10" or above. They got Sean, 6'10", Carter Hopoy, 6'11", lanky, and just a lot of 6'7", 6'8" guards and forwards. Their length is going to be a problem for teams. Their height is going to be a problem for teams. They're going to rebound the ball well. They're going to block shots well. Yeah, I do think they've got a lot of they don't have a 7'8" guy like the University of Florida has, but they've got some height on this team, and you got Big Sean in there, and he's going to be hard to push around. So, yeah, I actually think – and this is something that Roger said. This was, again, going back to his relentlessness. He said it's something they had to fix. They had to get bigger. They were playing undersized, 1980s Charles Barkley's at power forward for the last couple of years, and they couldn't do that anymore. They had to get bigger. They did, and I think this is going to be a major calling card for them in the Valley season.
And JW, what about the Panthers? They've been being out-rebounded. And again, that maybe on that top side, they don't have great size.
Yeah, and I don't know that the rebounding necessarily goes to that so much as some of their execution on what they're trying to do on some of these blockouts. So that's definitely something where even with a 6-0 start, you're looking at it kind of side eye, and this team is certainly trying to sort that out and get that figured. But because I think they've got the guys to be able to do that, and the word that Paul used is I think apt for the Panthers too, the length that they have. So yeah, not a lot of top end size. There's not a 7-footer on this team. We don't have a 6'10" on this team. Now Chase Corbett is, but he's probably not going to be heavily in the rotation every night. So yeah, you don't have that. But I think the length is going to bother people, how the Panthers can defend multiple guys with multiple positions by multiple guys, I should say. That's going to bother people enough. And you think about it, okay, well, how do you make up for that when you are facing someone that might be taller than what you've got there on the back line? And the way the Panthers do that is with the skill and the quickness that they have and that length all through the Trey Campbell running your point guard at 6'4", and then everybody else taller than that. You love what you can do out there. So you're going to have to think about it, right? There might be nights when you are outsized, and I love what Will Hornseth has done so far this season. He only goes at 6'8", but he's a skilled big man down there that can use that to his advantage. We saw that against a team like South Dakota State, who did run out a couple of 6'10" plus guys, and they tried at one point in that game to make it about that, make it be in the post and try to overpower Will, and he was able to hold his own defensively, and then he was able to help get the team out in transition a couple of times and use his skill and quickness on the block to beat those guys, and so he was able to counter it in a couple of different ways. So just you got to play to the strengths that you do have, and I think the Panthers will do a good job of that with their length. And yeah, the rebounding is going to come around because you talk about determination. Coach Jake is not satisfied with where that has been, and they've won despite that, which isn't always going to happen. So they know that's an area that they've got to get fixed.
You mentioned Trey Campbell, and is he the unquestioned leader on the floor, or are there other people that are taking those leadership roles, JW?
Yeah, I think Trey is, just because of the experience that he's got out there. I don't think he's the only leader, but I think he's the biggest voice among the team. He's never going to be the loudest voice that the rest of us from 60 feet away will see, but he's talking to his guys, and his guys know that he knows what he is about, as they would say. He knows the right things to do in a game, and he doesn't get too high or too low in a moment. He'll celebrate with his teammate. get down on himself if something goes wrong, but he's able to move on to the next play. And I think that's the biggest thing this team needs in a leader, someone that's just going to rally them together and say, okay, good or bad, let's move on. We got another play to come. We got another play to win. And so I think he does that at a high level. To your point, though, I think you got a lot of experienced guys. Leon Bond is coming into his own in that. I think guys are looking to him. He's going to be a leader in not only what he does on the floor or verbally, but also what he does with his game. And so, you have to have that to back it up, which obviously Trey does too. But Leon's got that. Ben Schweiger is a guy that has a lot of respect of his teammates. So it's a team that, they had to fill some voids, obviously, with the leadership lost by certainly a guy like Titan Anderson. Jacob Hudson did a lot of that too over the last couple of years, but they're finding their footing. And I think it is led by Trey in his own way of, calm demeanor, get everybody settled, and just keep the show moving as no matter what's happening in the scheme of a game.
At the 10,000-foot level, Paul, we have 7 games here today in the Missouri Valley Conference. Belmont's undefeated and off to a great start. And UIC's had some good wins. This is their schedule for today. Belmont will have Toledo. Bradley has, I've already forgotten who they have. And then UNI obviously
Liberty.
has Tulsa. Right, they have Liberty, which is another tough opponent. Indiana State has their second opportunity against Louisiana Tech. Southern Illinois, a tough chore against Memphis. But at the 10,000-foot level, Paul, it seems like there's some really good things happening in the Missouri Valley Conference. Do you agree?
Yeah, without question. I mean, look, there's some games today. Belmont's got a chance to play for a championship, whatever these MTE championships are. I like the tournaments more than I like the, you play one big team and get a couple of home games kind of thing. But that's a fun game right there. That's a game that will help the Valley if Belmont can win that one. UIC gets a matchup with their old Horizon League mates and Robert Morris. Liberty is a really good, well-coached program, always has been. And Bradley has been getting pushed around a little bit this year. And, it's funny that the kind of the word on the street out of Peoria is that Bradley believes they're very young this year. Well, they're starting a bunch of seniors, but they're guys who have not been, he doesn't have a bunch of fifth-year guys like he's used to having and stuff like that. That team will get better as the year goes. I mean, also, let's not be a moron here. All teams get better as the year goes on. Bradley, because they're very well coached, will make leaps and bounds as the year goes on.
They always do.
Yeah. Obviously, Northern Iowa, a chance to play for a championship. And I just think that those games matter so much because it's a short turnaround prep on a new opponent, and you're playing for a championship. And who doesn't want to replicate that? I think the game of the day, the one that really is going to be Southern Illinois and Memphis. And can Southern Illinois just made a lineup change? They've benched Isaiah Stafford. But by benched, I mean they've taken him out of the starting lineup. I mean the guy would have been playing a ton at Valpo. He goes to Southern Illinois, and he's no longer in the starting lineup. Okay, so why is that happening? I don't know, but maybe they feel like he's a better bench player than he is a better starter. I'm not sure. That said, Southern Illinois has got a good task against Memphis, and I know Memphis the record's not there, but I mean that's a team right there. It would be a gaudy win for Southern Illinois, and so we'll see what. House is such a really good player, and they've got some talent at Southern Illinois, which has probably pushed Isaiah Stafford out of the starting lineup. But we'll see if he can recover and earn a spot back.
JW, today, Toledo, talk a little bit about the chore for the Panthers today in this championship game.
Tulsa.
Yep.
So, yeah, you got it. That's the other big one with the T. It's going to be a chore because they've gotten out to a great start, too, just like the Panthers. So they're running with a lot of confidence. They had dismantled San Jose State in that game. It was a 30-point final. And just probably the most physical team. Don't sleep on the Northern Illinois Huskies when it comes to physicality, though, by the way. They came in and pushed the people around, and we were able to get that win at home. That was a physical team, but I think this game is even going to eclipse that with what Tulsa can do. every key crucial player is a transfer, and that's just what they're trying to do. They're building in the fourth year of their head coach. But they're going to shoot the three or they're going to finish at the rim. It's just one of those teams. And so the Panthers are going to have to be ready defensively. And then on the offensive side, be able to power through that physical push from Tulsa and continue to find good shots for guys like Trey Campbell, guys like Leon Bond and Ben Schweiger, and Will Hornseth in that game. So it's going to be a challenge for sure. I think the Panthers are up for it. There's just there's a different kind of feel and determination around this team. It's funny, we were kind of talking, and we're here at a great resort and everything, and there's pools all over the place, and you don't want to necessarily have to hey guys, let's focus on what we're doing. Nobody had to say that, right? This team is not going out there doing jackknifes and high diving into the pools here at the resort, and no one even had to say that. This is a business trip for them, and they're ready to do that. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be their best test that they've had. Even the metrics show you that, right? They're one spot ahead of us in the net ratings at 89, and we come in at 90 today. And so it's a challenge for sure. But I think every single one of these, now that the next one that you get, the Panthers started the season playing 3 programs that won 20 games a year ago. So it's been challenge after challenge, and they've been able to meet it so far. And so I'm excited to see what it's going to be and how they can stack up.
Yeah, JW, is it a business trip for you? Do you get to go play in the pool and all that stuff?
It's always a business trip for me, Paul. I got to get my prep done. I came in, and now I get to walk around a little bit. I'll take you inside my mindset a little bit. We're here at this. It's a La Quinta Resort Club out here in the desert, and this used to be out in the middle of nowhere. And this is where a lot of Hollywood types used to come out. It was built all the way back in 1926, and I'm a big It's a Wonderful Life Frank Capra guy, and there's a Frank Capra suite over there where he wrote a bunch of his movies, and so I spent a little time over there, kind of a little personal pilgrimage there to that. So that's been fun. But yeah, I mean, I got a lot of prep to do too, Paul, and I just came off the crossover season of football too, so I've used the time. Yeah, I've used the time well here, but it's certainly relaxing.
Meanwhile, the UNI volleyball team just won the championship as well, and so good things going on around the various programs. Leon, final thoughts, from both of you. Leon Bond 3 off to a great start. JW, we wondered in the offseason how healthy he would be. Obviously, he is. Just good to see guys be able to bounce back.
Yeah, and he's seeing the game at such a good level right now, offensively, defensively, everything in between. He is such a great guy to have on your team because he loves the game. Coach was looking at the stats as I interviewed him after the game yesterday, talking about minutes and the quick turnaround, because you want to be in this spot where you have to turn around quick when we start talking about later in the year. But it's the first time they've really done it this year. And he was like, well, the good thing was we were able to keep everybody under 30 minutes in that game just by the way it went. And then he looks down again and says, oh, well, Leon played 31, but he'll be fine, right? And that's Leon, right? He just wants to get out there and play. He doesn't care if he plays 40 minutes one night. He's going to come back and he's going to give you everything he's got the next night too. So he's a great guy to have around from that desire standpoint, but then the skill level is just off the charts. They were finally, and that's another thing he talked about after the game, they were finally running some sets for him in that second half yesterday. And he's just got such an ability to find his own shot, even within the scheme of their base offense, that they don't necessarily have to do that. And so there's a whole other treasure chest, I guess, of offense to unlock for Leon Bond when it comes to actually focusing in on what he can do offensively in the half court and getting him some of those sets and some of those looks specifically. So, I'm excited to see what he can do. And you're right. You just never know. And, you feel bad that a guy got robbed of those games because of that injury last year, because this is the Leon Bond that we were expecting to see. And now we're getting to have it this year. So it's time to enjoy it.
And Paul, I wanted to ask you about Owen Deese. I think in the offseason, we all thought Owen Deese is going to be the star of this team. And it's not that he's played poorly. You've got a couple of freshmen that are playing great, a transfer that's playing great, but tell us a little bit about Owen Deese.
Owen is first of all, just a phenomenal guy. It's interesting because they brought in a bunch of freshmen, and then they brought in these 2 Division I transfers, Isaiah Barnes and Owen Deese. And Isaiah Barnes was a top 100 recruit. He was 102. I'm going to call him a top 100 recruit.
Sure,
he was 102, whatever. And he started his career at Michigan, then went to Tulsa, and is now here at Valpo. And then you got Owen Deese, who played at Texas A&M Corpus Christi. And Owen Deese was happy to get another year. He's got a young child now, and that has changed maybe the way that he approaches. That guy has battled so many injuries, by the way, during his career, and he's finally healthy. They had a scrimmage in front of Apple fans early in the training camp, and he went 5 for 5 from the 3-point line. I mean, he was shooting it into the ocean, and he's 4 of 14 from 3 right now, so it hasn't been as efficient. Sadly, 4 of 14 from 3 makes him one of the better 3-point shooters on Valpo's roster right now. But I just Owen is a guy who he's an energy guy, right? Like, he's a guy when he's out there, he brings just a level, and that first shot goes down, the next few are coming with it. And so he got taken out of the starting lineup, and he responded with a phenomenal game against Nichols. You know, they said, look, we're going to have him see the floor, see the first couple minutes, put him in at the 17 minute mark, and he's really thrived in that role so far.
JW Cox, he's the play-by-play voice of the Northern Iowa Panthers. Paul Oren there, the editor, writer, chief bottle washer of the Victory Bell, covering all things Valparaiso. Follow both of these guys on social media. And guys, really appreciate your time today.
Of course.
Thanks, Harry. Anytime.
Appreciate you guys. Folks, thanks for watching today. Our live broadcast from here in St. Louis, the home of Arch Madness and the Missouri Valley Conference office. We're at the hub. I'm at the very hub of it all. So anyway, appreciate you guys being a part today. Remember, since you've been there, make it a better place. We'll see you again real soon.